You know why you fail again and again. Because you keep waiting for motivation to show up and save you. You keep waiting for some magical burst of energy, some perfect surge of inspiration, some ideal moment where everything feels right. And that's not how life works. That's not how success works. That's not how breakthroughs work. If you only move when you're motivated, you'll stay stuck for the rest of your life. Motivation is not your problem. Consistency is, discipline is, follow through is. Every time you fall, every time you stop, every time you quit, it's because you built your entire life around a feeling instead of building it on a standard. You fail because your standard is low. Your expectations of yourself are low. You say you want to win, but the way you wake up, the way you train, the way you study, the way you think, none of it matches someone who truly wants success. You talk like a champion, but you move like someone who's comfortable with losing. And until you raise your standard, until you decide that average is no longer acceptable, you will keep repeating the same cycle. You'll keep starting strong and fading fast. You'll keep dreaming big but living small. You'll keep wanting more but doing less. And the crazy part, deep down, you know this already. You know when you're giving 50% instead of 100. You know when you're taking shortcuts. You know when you're half committed. You know when you're letting distractions win. You know when you're choosing comfort instead of growth. You know when you're not serious. And because you know, because your heart knows, your spirit knows, your mind knows, your failure hits even harder. Because you're not failing due to lack of ability, you're failing due to lack of responsibility. You fail again and again because you haven't made a decision yet. Not a wish, not a hope, a decision, a real one, the kind that says, I'm done playing with my potential. I'm done letting excuses run my life. I'm done pretending tomorrow will fix me. Decision changes everything. Decision is the moment where the old version of you dies. Decision is the moment you stop negotiating with your goals. Decision is the moment you tell yourself, I'm not going back. I'm not repeating this year. I'm not reliving this same story again. But you've been delaying that decision. You've been dragging your feet. You've been stuck between who you are and who you know you should be. And that's the most painful place to live, the middle, the in-between, the almost, the I know better, but I'm not doing better. That's the space where failure grows. That's the space where doubt multiplies. That's the space where years disappear. That's the space where dreams die slowly. You fail again and again because you haven't built the habits that match the life you want. You don't rise early because you haven't trained yourself to. You don't stay focused because you haven't disciplined your mind. You don't finish tasks because you don't see yourself as someone who finishes. You've repeated the same weak habits for so long. They've become your identity. But hear me, your habits are the scoreboard of your future. If you want different results, you have to break the patterns that keep producing the same outcome. And let's be real, the reason you haven't broken them yet is because breaking them hurts. Growth hurts. Discipline hurts. Sacrifice hurts. And you've been avoiding the discomfort. You choose the short-term relief over the long-term reward. You choose the easy option over the right option. You choose what feels good now instead of choosing what builds you into who you're supposed to be. But every time you choose comfort, you choose failure. Every time you choose the easy way out, you choose the version of you that keeps losing. You want to win, then stop relying on inspiration and start relying on structure. Stop waiting to feel ready and start moving while you're tired, while you're uncertain, while you're scared. Stop letting emotions decide your effort. Emotions are unstable. Emotions shift. Emotions change hour to hour. But a decision, a standard, a commitment, that's unshakable. That's what builds champions. That's what separates the successful from the stuck. You fail again and again because you haven't taken control of your time. You let distractions steal your hours. You let other people dictate your schedule. You let your phone, your impulses, your laziness, your mood run your day. And when you look back, you realize you didn't lose because you were incapable. You lost because you were unfocused. Here's the truth you need to accept. You are not failing because you're weak. You are failing because you're undisciplined. You're not failing because you lack potential. You're failing because you lack dedication. You're not failing because life is unfair. You're failing because you keep choosing the path that leads nowhere. But the moment you decide to raise your standard, the moment you accept responsibility, the moment you stop negotiating with your goals, that is the moment you break the cycle. That is the moment you stop failing the same way. That is the moment everything changes. Because the day you stop choosing comfort is the day you finally start choosing success. You know why you fail again and again. Because you keep running from the hard conversations you need to have with yourself. You avoid your truth. You avoid your flaws. You avoid the reality you don't want to admit. You keep pretending that if you look away long enough, the problem will fix itself. But it won't. It never does. The longer you avoid the truth, the more control it has over you. The more you ignore your weaknesses, the more your weaknesses shape your destiny. You cannot grow from what you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot change what you pretend doesn't exist. You cannot win if you keep hiding from the real battle happening inside you. You fail because you're not honest about where you actually are. You keep convincing yourself you're working hard, but deep down, you know you're not giving even half of what you're capable of. You keep convincing yourself you're disciplined, but your actions say otherwise. You keep convincing yourself you're focused, but you wander the moment something shiny shows up. You keep telling yourself you've tried everything, when the truth is you've only tried the comfortable things. You haven't tried commitment. You haven't tried consistency. You haven't tried sacrifice. You haven't tried the level of effort that separates winners from watchers. You fail again and again because you're trying to live in a fantasy version of your life, where success comes fast, where effort always feels good, where progress is easy, and where your weaknesses don't matter. But life doesn't operate on fantasy. Life will expose every weak spot you refuse to strengthen. Life will keep sending the same test until you finally learn the lesson. Life has no problem repeating the same hardship over and over if that's what it takes to wake you up. And instead of learning, instead of adjusting, instead of owning your truth, you keep asking, why does this keep happening to me? It keeps happening because you keep avoiding the root of the problem, you. You fail because you're too afraid to confront the version of yourself that's been holding you back for years. That version of you that procrastinates, that version of you that gets distracted, that version of you that quits when it gets overwhelming, that version of you that wants results without discipline, that version of you that blames everyone but the person in the mirror. You've protected that version of yourself for too long. You've made excuses for it. You've justified it. You've built your entire identity around it, and now you're shocked when life keeps producing the same outcomes. You can't carry the old you into a new life and expect transformation. The truth is, your breakthrough is not hard. It's your honesty that's hard. It's admitting that you could have pushed harder. It's admitting that you didn't stay consistent. It's admitting that you didn't follow through. It's admitting that you let fear win. It's admitting that you settled. And for most people, that level of honesty is terrifying, so they avoid it. They avoid change. They avoid accountability. They avoid anything that threatens their comfort zone. But comfort is exactly what keeps you stuck. Comfort is what kills your purpose. Comfort is what keeps you living the same year over and over and calling it growth. You want to stop failing. Then start being brutally honest with yourself. When you fall short, ask why. Not emotionally, not defensively, analytically. Break it down. Where did your discipline crack? Where did your focus slip? Where did your habits weaken? Where did you choose comfort over commitment? You can't fix what you refuse to identify. And every time you take the time to actually look at your mistakes, study them, understand them, you get stronger. You get smarter. You get wiser. You get more dangerous, because now you're not repeating failures. You're learning from them. You keep failing because you keep running from pain, but pain is the doorway to your truth. Pain reveals what you need to improve. Pain reveals what you need to heal. Pain reveals where you need to grow. And you've been so busy escaping discomfort that you've missed every lesson it's been trying to teach you. Every failure you ignore becomes a failure you repeat. Every truth you avoid becomes a barrier you never overcome. Every weakness you deny becomes a chain that keeps you stuck. But the moment you stand in front of the mirror and say, I'm the reason I'm here, and I'm the reason I can change, everything shifts. That's the moment you stop fighting life and start fighting for yourself. That's the moment you stop hiding behind excuses and start owning your growth. That's the moment you stop being powerless and start becoming unstoppable. Because honesty is power. Accountability is power. Self-awareness is power. And once you tap into that level of honesty, failure stops being something that happens to you and becomes something that works for you. And when you reach that place where you're no longer afraid of your truth, life stops defeating you. Because now, instead of running from your weaknesses, you're attacking them. Instead of avoiding discomfort, you're embracing it. Instead of pretending everything is fine, you're fixing it. And when you do that, when you face yourself fully, honestly, unapologetically, you don't fail the same way again. You rise, you grow, you elevate, because the moment you stop hiding from your truth is the moment you finally step into your greatness.